excited to do with you a drawing of a bird, a songbird. And to do this, I have a little specimen right here. It's actually a real bird, and the bird has been taxidermied. I actually got it from my little son, Quinlan, who loves birds so much. And I ended up bringing it to the studio, and I've done several drawings of this bird, and I've also featured it in some paintings. But it's beautiful to look at the precision of just the design. When you look at the different feathers, what purpose they serve. I don't claim to understand each and every aspect of it, but from a visual standpoint, as an artist, I can really just get into the design of this creature. So as you see right here, I have my paper over here, I have my subject right there. I'm just going to flip my eye back and forth and discuss a little bit about the anatomy of the bird, and then just also talk about just the beauty of it. So what I'm going to do first off is I'm going to rough out the upper head right here and the body. So I like to, as I'm working on a drawing, I like to always keep in mind that the first marks that I make, they might be changed. I might be erasing these things. And so I try to take the pressure off of myself and not say like, oh no, I made a mistake and isn't that so terrible? I try not to think that way, but rather I try to think in terms of like, okay, what's my best guess right now? And then how can I push the drawing further as I go along? So I might be erasing the head. Maybe I made it too big. I have no idea. But I just come up with basic shapes. So there's a circle right here. Here's an oval. The wing coming off the back is kind of like this like triangular slice over here. So if I did a quick blowout over here, it's almost as if it's smaller circle, larger oval running at this direction with a triangular slice coming off the back. And so having all these things, I find it very important to always go back to this blowout sketch so that I don't get too distracted by detail. So now I'm going to put in his lower legs right here. I'm not going to go into too much detail with the legs because you could almost get a magnifying glass out and do a whole study just based on these like amazing gripping, legs right here with it's almost as if it's my two front fingers and then my back thumb. And he has like these two front fingers, the back thumb right here. And I'm not being literal, I'm just saying I think of it as being that way as the artist. Okay, so now that I have this mapped out in all raw shapes, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in for some more precision. So I can see that maybe I made the head a little bit too big. So what I'm going to do, again, I'm going to take pressure off myself. I keep my eraser on me at all times. And I'm going to simply start seeing the external contour of the bird. Now, we use the word external contour because there's a whole lot packed into that term. With external contour, we can think of something as being having plane changes. So you could think of the plane of the wing, so a plane being of surface, as meeting the plane of the back of, here's the nape of the neck and here's the back right here. And the plane changes. That's why we use the word external contour instead of outline, because outline is kind of vague, but external contour. So the outermost line here, the external contour, I'm just kind of like chasing it and like taking a look at what it might be. So, okay, so now I'm down to these tail feathers. And one of the things you might notice as I work is that in working, I move my hands, my entire hand often. I do make motions with, the final digits of my finger, but a lot of it early on in the drawing is moving with my whole hand. So now I'm down to these lower legs right here. I keep on me a sharpening block, also called a sandpaper block, and that keeps my pencil nice and sharp right there. And now I'm just carrying on down the belly. And onto the beak. Again, I'm trying to not think of the precision of the beak. If you wanted to, you could get super close. But in essence, that beak is almost just like a triangle, almost like an isosceles triangle coming right off the sphere of the head right there. All right, so the eye is just a pure sphere right here. And we can take this like way, way, way further. And I look forward to doing that. I will be doing a highly developed drawing of this. But for right now, I got to ask the big questions. I have to see, okay, I made the back of the neck a little too skinny, and he's got more of a broad cap to him. So I'm asking myself, is the head like too small and beady off of the body, which has more, does it have, in essence, like a little bit more mass? And so I think my guy has a little bit more mass. I made him a little too skinny. And even the back of the head, what's interesting as I look at this bird from this angle, the back of the head comes pretty close to the leg. So maybe I'm even going to move the leg a little bit further forward. These things matter just because they show the balance of the creature. So I don't want him to feel off balance. So right here, I think this is called the scapular region of the bird. I could have that wrong because I don't really know I know the feather anatomy, I know the underlying anatomy, but I don't know what's showing right here. It might be the nape leading to the back, leading to the scapular feathers. So, all right. And now I'm just starting to ask myself again, my big question is the overall shape of the bird. Is the overall shape, is it looking as thin, as thick? Is it looking sprightly, like where it could like flit right off of a branch? Or does it look like, something that's like longer? So these are questions I ask myself at this stage of the drawing. Because if you get the wrong thickness, like let's say right here, and it's way too thin, I don't know, then it could feel like there are birds in my yard. I live on Long Island, and the birds in my yard are called, there are some that are called catbirds, and they have they're such agile creatures, and they're known to be like mischievous birds that like will fly underneath a blueberry net, grab all the blueberries, and fly out again. So this bird is not exactly as agile as a catbird, but it doesn't need to be particularly. All right, so then I'm just getting the tail feathers coming down here. And these tail feathers come down pretty far. So I'm gonna let my tail feathers be extended. So you see, I've done a lot of changing of this drawing as my idea of what the thing is develops. And pretty much right there, I've masked in the front leg, back leg. And maybe I'll even put, at some point in the drawing, I would even put, like, let's say, a branch that he's like holding onto or something of that sort. Who knows? And maybe I made his tail up a little bit too high. I might move it down a little bit and give him more room for the wing. So I'm going to bring the wing down a little bit. And I'm going to move the tail down a little bit too. So I kind of like what that does for balance. Gives them a little bit more balance. So. Yep, I definitely like that better. So what I oftentimes do at this point is I clean up, and you can get an eraser. Oftentimes I like to get a hard eraser, and you can just clean up some of these lines like over here, and I'll even clean up my little blowout sketch.
Are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 pennies, and not one of them is forgotten before God? Why, even the hairs of your head are all numbered. Fear not, you are of more value than many sparrows.